Friday, you guys. Welcome back to the Fumble Live. We are breaking down the latest sports news for you, including a savage moment from Kobe Bryant. We're talking about some Lavar Ball news. He is talking again, you guys. Before we get into all of that, make sure you subscribe to the Fumble, tap the bell for notifications, and give this video a thumbs up. And I'm Devin Howard. You can find me on Instagram as @DevinHoward. Chris?
It's your boy Chris. You can find me everywhere at CK2K.
Happy Friday, y'all. It's Jackie Ray. You can find me everywhere at JRay the Fanatic.
Oh, I was going to say happy Friday, too. Happy Friday as well. I'm Britt Johnson. You can follow me on all social media at I am Britt Johnson.
That's 3 happy Fridays for you from all
right?
We're really excited it's Friday, guys, if you can't tell.
Right.
Yeah. But you guys, we're going into the weekend with a bang, so we're going to fill you in on these details once we get to Jackie's part of the show, WTF. But I want to mention right now at the top of the show that 2 NFL athletes are facing, I think it's up to 15 years in jail after an armed robbery in Florida. So stay tuned for that. Jackie's going to be filling you in on all the details. It's kind of wild. Just, a crazy story to launch us right into the weekend. And then coming up in Need to Know News, of course, we're talking about Lavar Ball and his plans for LaMelo. He's speaking things into existence. We've got some MJ news and we've got some Kobe news for me. Chris, what is coming up for you in the post-up?
Well, we were going in a little bit on the Rams jerseys, and ex-Ram Todd Gurley is not a fan too. We're going to talk about his reaction to the jerseys coming up. LeBron James got a really cool idea for the 2020, the class of 2020, for a graduation ceremony over the week, and we're going to talk about that in detail. I'm pretty excited about that. And Perkins has another list for us to talk about and be upset about, or will we be upset about it? We'll talk about that.
So many lists all the time. Okay, Jackie,
I know.
What else do we have for you in WTF?
Okay, aside from the criminal element, I officially hate the Seahawks, and I am going to tell you why, so hang out for that.
All right. And then, Britt, what hint do you want to give us about Britt's takes?
Well, the first hint I want to say, somebody in the chat just said, oh my gosh, Britt, it's called a bun, guys. It's just in a
right.
bun. It's not, I didn't cut my hair. I'm not bald-headed now. It's just in a bun. But I'm talking about baseball today, so get excited for all you 3 baseball fans that are in here.
Yeah,
I know, I'm like...
It's a good topic. It goes across all sports, guys, but it's just actually baseball, but it can be all sports. It can go all sports. So, yeah.
Okay, great. Well, I'm excited to hear what it is. Also, I just want to say, Jackie and Britt, you guys can both rock a bun really well, just since we were talking about it. Whenever I do that, I feel like I look weird. So props to you guys on being able to
pull ball-headed, so... Whatever.
We can't co-sign on that, Devin, because you've never really actually rocked a bun. So you're gonna have to actually do it.
I've never seen Devin's hair but down.
I think that's great. You're like the sexy librarian.
Oh,
mine's in a bun right now.
Chris, stop it. Stop it right now.
The hat
Chris, nobody rocks
out.
a hat like you, my guy. Nobody rocks a hat like you.
Oh my God.
Very you do the hat look really well, and I'm sure if you had a bun, it would look amazing.
Thank you. I'll take
it. Let's jump into our first need to know news story about Lavar Ball. So Lavar is speaking LaMelo's future into existence. Chris, I know you're going to like this one. I see you over there rubbing your hands, real excited. So we've heard a bunch of rumors and theories as to where LaMelo will end up. The Warriors and the Knicks were the 2 teams that have been tossed around the most. We filled you in on how the Warriors are not interested, or at least reports say that they're not interested in drafting LaMelo. So now the Knicks, I think, is like the top choice for LaMelo and also for Lavar. So he's really pushing for his son to get picked up by New York. During his interview on Load Management, he doubled down on his desire to see his kid in a Knicks jersey. So they aren't guaranteed a lottery pick, but the odds are in their favor to get one. Chris, I can't wait to hear your thoughts on that. But first, there's one more thing that I want to mention. In that same interview, Lavar referred to LeBron as what's-his-face. He said AD and what's-his-face, which I thought was not nice, kind of rude. That's my bone to pick with Lavar and Jackie. I'm sure you're with me on that, but that's not even what I'm talking about right now. It was just worth mentioning.
I kind of wonder how I'm going to feel if I ever see Lavar Ball in the street. If it's going to be a, hey, what's up? Or like, oh, my man, my guy. We need to have some words right now.
That's Jackie going to say.
Ain't all what's his face.
Right. Hey, what's your name again? You're one of those ball boys, right? Like,
I know, it's just like, come on, Lavar. I feel like it's just always such a publicity stunt. But Chris, okay, my question for you, I got to ask you first. Do you think having Lavar be so vocal about his desire to see LaMelo in a Knicks jersey helps or hurts LaMelo's chance at being drafted by the team?
Oh, it don't hurt the Knicks. I mean, I think it helps for the sense where it will, draw other teams away from it. But I'm gonna tell you right now, new president Leon Rose, who's been an agent for his entire career, he endorses that kind of drama, and he will take him with open arms if he does fall. What you were saying earlier about us being a favorite, for sure, I agree with that. But I just feel like, unfortunately, I know it's very crazy for people to hear, the Knicks won too many games this year, so the odds aren't entirely in our favor to be high enough to get LaMelo, unless the reports are talking about us trading. I think that's the only way we can go up. But who knows? Now that Lavar is in our corner, now I feel a little bit more at ease, because we all know Lavar at this time of the year is a wizard, okay? He's done it once. He's spoken it into existence, and now I am buying in that Lavar is going to speak this into existence too. So I'm hoping that, the little Lavar push is enough. But I mean, if we're going to be realistic, I still feel like it's a long shot for us to have LaMelo. I'm hoping that the lottery balls help us out. But look, now that I got Lavar on my side, y'all laughed at me when I told you that I was going to make that man my roommate. Now look, okay, I did my part. Now he's out there talking about bringing him to the Knicks and these podcasts and stuff, okay? I did my part.
You need all the balls. You need Lavar Ball, LaMelo Ball, and the lottery balls. You need all these balls to fall in your
I'll take
favor.
Dillo Ball too.
And
Danny Green's ball.
Danny Green, yes. Yeah, look.
All the balls.
Look, I'll take them all. Mm-hmm.
I mean, Lavar does have the law of attraction mastered pretty well, so I think this could be what you guys need. Lavar just speaking it all into existence. He also said, I thought this was kind of interesting, that it's time for something good to happen to the Knicks, meaning drafting LaMelo would be the good thing that happened. So, Jackie, do you think that he wait, what, Chris? What are you saying over there?
Nah, I said thanks, Lavar. I mean, obviously, definitely time for something good to happen in the Knicks.
But what I'm wondering is, Jackie, and my question is for you, do you think that LaMelo as a rookie player has the power to elevate the team? Like, is he really going to be the good thing to happen to the Knicks?
So I'm not going to put that pressure on him, because we saw what that pressure, Lonzo didn't live up to that pressure. And I'm just not going to put that type of pressure on him, because I think, and I'm not trying to be disrespectful as this is going to sound. I just don't think he has to do too much to go into that organization, as long as he doesn't let the hype kind of get to him and, all the pressure and the microscope. He doesn't have to do a lot, so he can definitely succeed. But I'm just not going to put the same pressure on him that we put on Lonzo, because ultimately I just don't think that's fair. But I think it would be an easy way for him to be the star of that team fairly quickly.
Jackie, you talk about that for Lonzo, but you want to put all the pressure on little Baker Mayfield over there.
I knew you was gonna go there, and the reason why I knew you was gonna go there,
yes.
and the reason why I'm doing that to Baker Mayfield, number one, is because he deserves it. Number two, make less commercials, and number three, you got Odell Beckham there, and you can't find him. No, I'm putting the pressure on.
Britt, I want to ask you the same question that I asked Jackie. Do you feel like LaMelo really can be the good thing that happens to the Knicks, or is that kind of giving him too much credit or putting too much pressure on him?
I mean, I would agree with the pressure thing. You don't want to put that on a player, but I feel like he's kind of already proved that he can step up to that himself. He's dealt with pressure ever since he was a freshman in high school. So I think that he is comfortable in that position. So I don't think if you do put the pressure on him, he's going to then it'll negatively affect his career at all. I think he's great under pressure. You know, I think he kind of thrives in it a little bit. So I think he'll be just fine when it comes to the Chris. I would like to say maybe your Knicks could get him, because they could do what the Cavs did back in the day when they weighted those envelopes to get a higher pick, you know? So
I'm
maybe
glad you used that example.
envelopes.
No, it's fine. I'm glad you went Cleveland route rather than the Knicks, because there's the whole conspiracy about us getting Patrick Ewing and how we froze the envelope, but I don't want to talk about that.
Yeah.
Don't be bringing up old stuff, man.
Let's move on into the next need to know news story. So Jasmine Jordan, MJ's daughter, didn't understand why people were so obsessed with her dad. Growing up, she just didn't. To her, she was like, he's not that cool. Why do you guys love him so much? She actually had to Google it to figure out why people loved him. So I have a clip for you from her interview with the Associated Press. Leo, can you put that up there for us?
I'm definitely texting him nonstop. I don't think there's been an episode or a Sunday where I haven't been like, hey, this happened. Let me know your thoughts. When I was a child and growing up during the times, I didn't really understand what was happening because I was so young. And it just didn't really resonate with me until I got older. And, you know, I laughed because I actually Googled my dad at one point.
Wow.
So she was only 5 years old. I know, it's cute. She was only 5 years old when he finished his final season with the Bulls, but it's still funny to imagine that somebody who actually lives with Michael Jordan doesn't understand just like the power that he has. She also, in an interview from a few years back, admitted that she used to be uncomfortable with like following in her dad's footsteps and you know, get sharing the spotlight with him, being part of that like famous world. But then as she got older, she started to embrace all of that and is using it to her advantage. So Britt, I know you're the Michael Jordan expert among us. Do you find it interesting how there are some sons and daughters of NBA players like Bronny or Zaire who take advantage of their dad's success, you know, starting from an early age, and how there's others like Jasmine who for a long time didn't even really understand why her dad was famous?
Well, Michael Jordan also has two sons that both kind of followed and played basketball as well. Unfortunately, they just weren't very good. So I think Michael did have his boys that kind of followed or tried to follow in his footsteps. They just were unsuccessful at doing so. It's very rare that you have, you know, a father and then you have a son that ends up being just, or a daughter that ends up being just as successful as you. Like, it's very hard to do that. Like, I mean, Scottie Pippen Jr. is playing too. He's not as great as dad. He's still a pretty decent player, you know, but you have all these guys that have sons. One of the biggest ones I always think of, JaVale McGee, his mom is a huge star in WNBA. His mom is a great basketball player, one of the best players ever to play at USC. JaVale, he's unchecked and a fool a little bit, a lot, but he's like, him and his mom were like the first WNBA and NBA son and daughter, you know, so that's like a switch the other way where it's the son or the mom is the superstar in the WNBA and then the son kind of follows in the mom's footsteps. But I think it's interesting that as much ego that we see from Michael Jordan and like all like how he was just like laughing at everybody and I'm the shit kind of guy on the court and, you know, in practice and stuff, to know that when he went home, like he was just dad, I think is a really kind of like sweet moment to think about, because it's like he didn't have that kind of energy when he was at home with his family, as you can tell, because his daughter didn't even realize that, like, why do you guys think my dad's so cool? Like, that's just my dad. He's just a regular guy. Yeah. And I kind of see the same energy with Zuri, you know, like she has LeBron wrapped around her finger 20 million times, you know, like that little girl thinks she's the boss. LeBron is not the boss. LeBron is not a superstar. Zuri is a superstar, you know? And I think it's really cute to see like the father-daughter relationships there. And I think Michael Jordan clearly had that with his daughter. And now we know he has his two young twins or whatever as well, who will probably know who Michael Jordan is because he had already had his career and stuff by the time obviously they were born. But it's very cute, I think, to see like that side of Michael Jordan, because we don't see that really at all in the documentary at all. Like it's just the grit and the grime of him playing basketball. And I think which we might see in these last two episodes this week, but I think it would have been cool to kind of see more of the, like, what was Michael Jordan like at home? Like, you know, I mean, can we get Juanita coming out here talking? I know that's his ex-wife, but can she say a little bit in an interview and about him, you know?
No,
so it'd been
not her.
a little bit. That's
Not her. Let's skip over her.
She didn't have anything against him because he gave her what she wanted. So
Right.
I'm sure she's like, I'm fine with it.
But she was paid to go away, so let's let her stay away. So
She was paid very well, might we add.
yes.
Yeah, I do think it is kind of sweet how, hearing from Jasmine, she just seems pretty normal, like a homebody. She's not like chasing the limelight. And I think it's a true testament to Michael Jordan as a parent. You know, he wasn't saying that chase after the lavish lifestyle, chase after the fame, like just be happy and normal. And I think that's really refreshing and really, really nice. Let's jump into our third.
Really quick though to Jasmine, because she just got her first cover on a magazine yesterday. So she just announced yesterday she's like on the cover of a magazine. So shout out to her.
Amazing. Yeah, it's so awesome.
Like hair Jordan, like I don't know, like the female royal of Jordan or whatever. It's cute.
Yeah. Okay, you guys, the third and final need to know news story. This is a little throwback Kobe story. So the 2014-2015 season for the Lakers was pretty dismal. They ended the campaign 21-61, and Kobe was out with an injury. And then the day before the trade deadline, he did something super, super savage. I have a clip for you. So Leo, can you throw that up there?
Doing our dynamic warm-up or whatever. And then he comes in, sweatsuits. He has a sling around his, for his hurt shoulder, and he has his shades on, his Kobe shades, and he walks in, and everyone's like, "Oh!" and boos. Carlos Boozer's like, "Kobe, like, good to see you, bro. Like, dang, like we haven't seen you a bit. How come you came today?" And he was just stone faced, and he was like, "I just came by to say bye to some of you bums who are going to get traded tomorrow."
Oh, damn.
It is so cold. It is very, very cold. And then actually after he did that like super brutal goodbye, they actually made 0 trades. So it's just kind of funny. Jackie, my question for you, is there another athlete in the league today who you think would do something this savage?
I think LeBron would, because I think LeBron is used to trading half the squad. So I think he'll go because he does.
Nice. He would not go in the locker room and say that.
Yeah, he would send them an edible arrangement.
No, he would not send him a damn. Now y'all, he's not that damn soft. The disrespect, Chris. I promise I'm gonna pay you.
I love LeBron.
Well wishes bouquet of flowers.
He would joke with it. He would joke with it, but he would say it. But it would be with the kiki after. It wouldn't be with the stone face, like, "Oh, some of you bums are leaving." And he might like try to nurture him and say, it's part of the business. But he would probably start off with a joke like that. I could totally see him do it. Y'all act like LeBron hasn't told savage jokes in the past. Like, he can tell a joke. But he would feel bad if their feelings were hurt. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. He would say it, but then he would see the looks on their faces and be like, "Oh, I mean, it's just part of the business, man. It's not
exactly." He couldn't. He couldn't. No, see, no.
But he would say it, and then he would feel guilty.
Jackie is smoking.
That's throwback gamer who also says some weird stuff. So let's see how much he smokes in like a second.
Is it smoking hot?
Right.
Okay, Chris, my question for you. Do you think that Kobe coming in there with this kind of like stone cold, brutal energy lights a fire under his teammates' asses, or is it just plain mean?
I mean, it should, but it didn't, because I'm sure that team was just like, "Oh, Kobe, why would you say that? That hurts my feelings." Man, look, that team was not the team. There was no championship. There was nothing going on with that team, and I feel like something like that could have turned into a story like the Steve Kerr game punch in the face story. I feel like something like that could have turned into and then next thing you know, Lakers went on a 20-game winning streak if he had that kind of team built. That team that they had built by Mr. Whoever was running, I think it was Jim at the time. My goodness. Yeah, I think he was running the team at the time, and he was not doing a good job with the Lakers. That team was not built to win any game. So I believe that they were all very kidding.
Even how he told the story, he was like, "Ha ha ha."
The only person that probably didn't take it serious was Nick Young.
Oh, that's probably true.
Well,
Nick
and
Young.
even
I can see Nick Young.
after that clip, Jeremy Lin said one of his teammates looked at him and said, "I don't even feel comfortable practicing now. Like I lost all momentum and all motivation to practice." Like he was serious,
no way.
everybody was like, "Okay," like it wasn't even like a good, happy, positive move. And that was like the first time the Lakers ended up like are losing 60 games or more in a season ever in their history. So it was like literally the worst season ever. Like with
they
the
didn't
worst
take it the
team
right
the
way
Lakers have ever had.
So what did he say to him after nobody got traded? What did he say then?
Probably nothing.
I don't know. I don't think he
Like,
went back
just
to
kidding. Just
kidding. They said that he hadn't seen him in like weeks, you know, he wasn't really going to practice or anything like that. And he just randomly walked in. That's why everybody was so excited to see him. Like, why are you here today? And he's like, I just wanted to tell you bums bye, you know? And then he probably didn't go to practice the rest of the season.
I love it, man. I love it.
So, okay, Britt, I want to know from you. So I know you love a rivalry in the NBA, but what about if it's kind of like a rivalry between teammates? Do you think that this kind of attitude is a good thing, or do you think that that should be reserved for opponents?
No, it depends. I think obviously Michael Jordan, his thing was biggest against his own teammates because he did believe in them and thought they were going to do great. And if he didn't get under their butts, they didn't do as well. Like it literally, even in the docuseries, you see the change of when Michael Jordan, after he had lost again to the Sixers, he mentally changed and was like, listen, none of y'all are going to go on vacation this summer. We're all getting in the gym and blah, blah. And then that's when you saw the sprout of even Scotty. Scotty wasn't that great before that moment. Like literally he kind of changed the momentum of the team and was like, this is what we got to do. And you're going to snap in shape or you're going to get out of here. And in that situation, yes, it's very good. But then obviously you have situations where if you maybe KD and Russell Westbrook on a team again together, maybe that's not a good rivalry to have because they're not even going to try to pass each other the ball. You know, like there's different things where it's like you believe in your team enough that you're going to get under their butt to make them do great. Or there's another rivalry like the Westbrook and Kevin Durant one. If they ended up on a team again, they're going to have issues because they're going to be fighting all the time. And it's not about saying something to make you better. It's about saying something to get under your skin, which is negatively going to affect the locker room.
Right. All right, you guys. Well, that wraps up our Need to Know News segment, but we're continuing with that theme of Savagery and Chris's post-up. So tell us what's going on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok.
Yes, we sure are. In today's episode of Post Up with your boy Chris Quarantine Edition. And yes, we are continuing with the Savagery over here on the Post Up because Todd Gurley. Oh, Todd Gurley. First of all, this was he didn't seek out to say anything. It was brought into this, and Todd Gurley reacted the way that I expect him to react. Well, like I said earlier in the show, we all talked briefly about the jerseys in the last live yesterday. None of us are really big fans of the jerseys, and it looks like ex-Rams player Todd Gurley is not a fan either. He was shouted out by Jalen Strong, who tweeted, "Damn, bro, Todd, look like you dodged a bullet." And then all Todd Gurley had to say, I don't know if you can see it underneath our little animation, is a bunch of laughing emojis because he's just going to keep his mouth shut and just keep moving forward because he did say he's not talking to the Rams, and he's keeping up with his promise because he's just laughing, but he ain't saying no words on the new jersey, nothing like that. And look, normally I'd be like, oh, that's petty. Nah, I'm all for this because yes, the jerseys are ugly and I'm all for being honest, especially when it's your ex team. Hell yeah. Laugh your laugh. I was gonna say talk your talk. No, laugh your laugh, Todd. Laugh your laugh, even though you're on the stupid Falcons. Moving on to Steph Curry. Now, we showed Steph Curry do his insane little trick golf shot. Well, he was on Jimmy Kimmel Home Edition last night, and he tried to reenact that shot. And then he tried to reenact the shot again. Then he tried to reenact the shot again. Then he tried to reenact the shot again. Then he tried. It was a theme. It was about like a minute and a half of him trying to reenact the shot, but he finally got to the point where he got to it. And I'm not even going to show you all the missed attempts because his reaction when he finally makes it shows all the weight that was left off his shoulders when he finally made it on live TV. Because look, he tried it like several times, and this is what I talk about all the time. I know we edit it out, but when you keep it in, it takes away from the shot. But I mean, that's just my opinion on this. Here's the shot when he finally made it on Jimmy Kimmel Live.
I'm blaming it on the pink ball. It's not me.
Yeah, what is that? A ping pong ball or what?
Water all over the
It's an
floor.
actual indoor. I don't know what you call it.
I got
Oh, God.
Well done,
I just want to
Stephen Curry.
With, as you
Pink
can
ball.
see,
The water's still spilling
You
out.
did it. Wow.
Yeah, that cup was initially full of water, and you can see that big old puddle on the floor because the amount of times he tried and spilled the water on the floor. Look, man, I get it. Shout out to Steph, though. All the jokes aside, Steph out there like going through it, taking the L's, and still tried every single time until he finally made it. So,
Yeah.
look,
And
man,
put
bigger
his
man
whole
than me. I
golf
would have
outfit on.
been. He sure did. Shirt tucked in and everything. Yeah, he sure did.
Ready.
He sure did.
In the house, with a whole golf fit.
Moving on to LeBron James. Now, look, I know I was being a little harsh on LeBron earlier. I
As
like
usual.
LeBron James. I have no beat. No, there's no as usual. I like LeBron James. I'm just also going to be real. I just feel like LeBron would have handled the situation differently than Kobe and Michael Jordan. That's all I'm saying. But that being said, one of the many things that I love about LeBron James is what he does when he's not even on a basketball court. And that continues here because he was one of the main people that started off this idea of having this graduation ceremony over this. It's actually this coming weekend. That has all these names that you're seeing right to my, oh my goodness, to my left, right, whatever it is for you guys, the screens. You're seeing all these famous names that will be there for all of the class of 2020 that are unfortunately not going to be able to walk this summer because obviously of the situation going on right now. So they're going to do an event on damn near every channel. We got, I think, CBS, we got NBC, we got Fox, we got everybody. Everybody's picking it up and everybody's going to be streaming it. Not entirely sure how it's going to work because obviously you can't name the name of every senior in all of the United States, but I think it's going to be a cool event. I'm sure that, probably everyone that is was supposed to graduate, they'll probably do some kind of ceremony while watching this. I don't know how it's going to be. I'm really excited to see how this is going to come about. But LeBron James posted this, also adding a caption saying, so excited for the class of 2020 to see what we have in store for them. Saturday can't come fast enough. Thank you to all my friends who put in a helping hand with this. And he added everybody that you saw on the list. Now, for those, if it's a little hard and you like looking real close, you got Barack Obama on this list, Kevin Hart, Pharrell, the Jonas Brothers, Bad Bunny, David Dobrik from my YouTube people, Alicia Keys, and there's so many other people on this list. And I think it's gonna be dope. I'm actually probably gonna be tuning in because I'm curious to see how this goes about. I think it's gonna be a cool idea. I went on the website a little bit, and it's letting students give their idea on what they think they should do during the ceremony. So I'm really excited and curious to see what comes about with this event on Saturday. I think it's a dope idea. So shout out to LeBron and shout out to everybody that said yes to be a part of this. I mean, they got Barack Obama. Come on.
Yeah.
Come
And
on. Well done. I think
Barack
it's gonna
is
be fun.
supposed to be the one giving the commencement speech for it.
Mhm.
So he's supposed to
even
be
better.
the one. They had a little
That's so
thing where
cool.
you could vote, and I actually voted because my sister's graduating, so she'll be kind of participating. They're basically just going to be watching
That's
from
cool,
the
man.
house, and wearing their cap and gown, and you just watch the
Right.
whole ceremony, and people will be giving different speeches and stuff, and performances. But Barack is supposed to be the one that's doing the commencement speech. They voted on it or whatever, who the class voted on who they wanted to
gonna
see
do it?
give them their speech, and everyone of course voted Barack Obama because everyone still wishes he was our
Obviously.
president right now. But,
Right.
So yeah, I think it'll be cool, and because my sister's been she's a senior, and she's been
Bum.
really, really sad. She actually just got scholarship to San Diego State, and she's going to be on the dance team there. But now they just heard that their first semester, they're probably going to be doing it online. So she's all sad because she's like, I have all my dorm room stuff. So I know it's really hard for these graduating seniors. So it's so cool that LeBron decided to kind of help put together something like this. And I think it's an awesome thing
Sure.
for the graduating 2020 class.
And now your
Man,
sister can
somebody
say
in the
that Barack
chat said they
Obama let her come in.
The only person
you
they
saying?
know on that list is Barack Obama. Somebody in the chat said the only person I know on this list is Barack Obama.
Not even Pharrell.
You don't
I-
know for
I'm not believing that at all.
At the way bottom, guys, they have dude with sign. is going to be part of this commencement thing. You guys know, everyone knows dude was signed, but
Come on, right?
What is he going to do for this commencement thing? Is he just going to have a spot where he's
gonna have his sign
saying congrats,
yes,
and then that's it? Like, he's a part of this event, guys. Like,
look,
how much is he getting paid to do this?
Hilarious.
That
that's what we need to know. That's what we really need to know.
Right.
Can't wait to see that. But yeah, man, it's gonna be cool, man. I think that's really cool. And like you said, I can only imagine, you know, all these kids that were looking for it, and you know, like your sister Britt, that you know got a whole scholarship and ready to go on to their next chapter and want to close out, you know, proms and graduations and stuff like that that they didn't get to be a part of. Like, I'm sure that's something that's really gonna bum you up. So this is something that would be really cool that, you know, your sister could say, you know, Barack Obama, you know, he was a committee. He
can't say that about your graduation.
You know, can't say that. Yeah, I'm about to say, who did yours? Your geometry teacher? That's cool. Nice. Barack Obama did mine.
Right.
Like, that's pretty cool.
Right.
So that's pretty dope. Moving on to our boy Kendrick Perkins. Now, we have talked way too damn much about all these lists and top 5s and top 10s and the best hairdos in the NBA and the best person with the tightest spiral in the NFL. Like, all these stupid lists in this time of quarantine. I understand, because there's only so much that we can talk about and watch because there's no sports going on. But man, did Perkins reach on this list? I think it's cool, but he reached, because he dropped his all-time, all-around list. Because everybody's so curious for that. Well, here's his all-time, most all-around, and it starts with LeBron James. Then there's Larry Bird, Scottie Pippen, Russell Westbrook, and Kevin Garnett at 5. Now, obviously, just like the ESPN list, everyone's upset. You left off this person. Where's Magic Johnson? Oh my gosh. That's not why I'm bringing this up. I am sick of these lists, and I'm sick of people thinking that complaining and whining about your opinion is going to get guys like Kendrick Perkins to be like, you know what, you're right, let me delete this tweet and redo it because of what you just said. Now I need to rearrange this list. That never happens. I think Britt was the one that said that, like, whenever we talk about these GOAT conversations, when have we ever had an argument between two people end with a guy like, you know what, my dog, you're right, I'll take it. Michael Jordan is actually the GOAT, not LeBron James, and shake hands and then they run to the sunset. That never happens. So these lists,
never.
Like, you can have the list, throw up the list, but to me, it's more the complaints and the you left this person, you left that person, and then going on calling somebody's mom a hoe. Like, I don't understand why it has to turn into that whenever it comes to these arguments.
Why you gotta bring in the mama though?
Yeah,
that's what I'm saying. We're talking about basketball players, and now you bring in my mom, and now we fighting. Oh my goodness! So yeah,
I your mama got the same list. That's why they mad. They mama got the same list.
I want to go back to Britt. I want to ask Britt this question. Okay, now we can talk about the list later, but do you agree with me? Do you think that we need to just simmer down a tad bit when it comes to these top 5s and comparing these people? Like Jamal Crawford said, we need to appreciate these players and stop comparing. Are you with me on that, or you just want to keep seeing these comparisons, seeing these lists?
No, I mean, do it right now because we don't have anything else to talk about on the Fumble, so keep them coming. But I am sick and tired of them. Once sports starts back up, I don't want to hear shit about a list again. And I also think his list was wrong. But I hate when people say do their list and then they say don't at me. People are going to start talking about
They're going to at you. Yes.
Like that. So.
Yes.
Devin, I have if you really don't want to get into it with people.
Right.
What were you gonna say, Devin?
Jackie just said, "Don't at me" in the chat.
I did. I said Kevin Perkins' list is right. Don't at me.
and that's why I'm leaving this last question for you before I move on to this next one, Jackie. Okay, do you think, and we know that Perk is homies with LeBron James, do you think that this man created this almost all-around list just so he can see LeBron James number 1 on some list because we saw LeBron James at number 2 in the ESPN list? Be honest.
I don't care why he created it. The point is LeBron is at the top, and that's how the list is supposed to go. I don't care about the reason why the list came about. I'm just glad the list is in existence now because some of y'all needed to see this list. So this works for me.
I'm so done. I'm done. All right. Okay, get off my screen. We're moving on to the next one. Get Jackie off my screen. No, last but not least, I love this. Now we know wrestler Braun Strowman. He's known to be big, strong, muscle man. But look, the way he was hitting these softballs off this tee was damn near disrespectful. Now I understand, like I know he's a big dude. What should you expect? But these are softballs, okay? Look, can we get this video? Look at this. This man is a whole, I want to say like 5. Look at him. Look at him. Watch how far they go. These things going to the next time zone. That's not hitting the floor. That's not hitting the floor. That just went keep going up. That thing just keeps going up into space. It's probably gonna become a cloud itself, man. All I'm saying is he's gonna have to go to Big 5 or whatever sporting goods stores near wherever he's at because he's not getting any of these balls back. Now, I have a question. I'm curious. What if we had, now hear me out, okay? This is somebody who's not a baseball watcher, okay? Hear me out. Now, I know with the home run derby, they have the whole thing and they just give them like nice, easy tosses so they can get home runs. The point is to get the most home runs. I get that. But what if we had a tee competition? Because you know every single time that's going to be a home run. So the number's going to be up. It's going to be exciting. Anybody else with me on that?
No,
silence. All right, so that's cool. And I think
all I saw was Thanos playing T-ball. That's what it looks like to me. It looks like Thanos playing T-ball. I don't know. That's all I saw.
Oh man, the ball is snapping and poops in the air. Yo, that'd be hilarious. But that's it for me on this Friday edition of Post Up.
All right. You guys, now it's time that we finally get those details about that robbery that the 2 NFL athletes were involved in. So, Jackie, WTF? What's going on with that?
This is like WTF. Like, why does this keep happening? You just really hate to hear stories like this. But 2 cornerbacks, DeAndre Baker from the Giants and Quentin Dunbar from the Seahawks, are wanted in Florida for 4 counts of armed robbery. Well, actually, DeAndre Baker is charged with 4 counts of armed robbery with a firearm and 4 counts of aggravated assault with a firearm. Dunbar is charged with 4 counts of armed robbery. This story has a funny twist to it. Okay, so apparently they were all gambling at some cookout. Quentin Dunbar and DeAndre Baker lost about $70,000 in this gambling debt. Like, they aren't watching The Last Dance and should just not be gambling. But so they just gambled this away anyway. And the crazy thing is Baker's rookie contract is, I think it was like $495,000 for the first year and then just over $970 for the second year. So when you kind of think about the expenses that you have in New York alone, it's not like he probably has a ton of money anyway. So why he's gambling $70,000 worth of his money away from is beyond to me. But anyway, after they lose this money, an argument obviously ensued. And at that point, Baker pulls out a gun and decides to rob everybody of Rolexes, watches. And then some guy in a red mask comes in and Baker tries to tell him to shoot somebody who's walking through the door. Thankfully, no one was shot. And then Dunbar takes $7,000 in cash and then they leave. The funny part about this story to me is only one person had a mask on. 2 of the people there know everybody else there, so they're going to be easily to spot. So I don't know how they didn't think this through. And what's even more crazy is Quentin Dunbar did a virtual press conference with the Seahawks less than 14 hours later, did not look agitated, did not look like anything was weird in his life. He was just answering questions like normal. Each of these counts carry about 15 years. So they could literally end up in prison for a good chunk of the rest of their lives. If, I don't think that they will, especially Dunbar, who they said just took the cash. I think they're going to end up saying, oh, he was just acting because there was a gun involved and he was scared for his life or whatever. But this whole situation is funny to me, especially because I don't know how they thought they were going to get away with it. So, Britt, what are your thoughts on this whole situation?
Oh, child. It's really crazy because me and Jackie were talking about it earlier this morning about Quentin's press conference, because I watched it yesterday, originally thinking after I had heard the story is when I watched it. So I was thinking oh, maybe he's answering the questions about it, but it had happened a couple hours before he was charged. And like Jackie said, he literally just was like, yeah, I think I'm going to be really good on the defense. He's just playing with his hair. I think I'm going to be really good on the defense. And I just fit perfectly with Seattle and all this kind of stuff. Literally, like, nothing happened. Like, I don't understand the level of craziness that's in their brains to think, again, like Jackie said, they know they didn't have masks on. They knew everybody there. So how did they think that this wasn't going to come back and get him? And he was just so confident and so like he's going to play this season and ready to go. And now that's probably not going to happen. And he might not ever play down in the league again. And he's 27 years old. Like, he's a grown man. Baker, a little bit younger, whatever. But like, clearly there's something off in their heads. They're a little crazy to even think. I get. And for football hasn't lost any money yet. The football players haven't lost any money yet. They haven't taken a shortened season or anything like that. So it's not like, oh, well, we don't have any money right now and we took a pay cut and I need money. They're not. The NFL hasn't gotten to that point yet. So you're literally still making your regular salary at this point, and you're still going to go and rob somebody for $7,000. A guy on the practice squad makes about, I think, $10,000 a week. So you guys are actually on the team. You guys. Minimum, the guy that makes Baker, that's like still kind of technically on his rookie contract. He was drafted in the first round, so he's making a little bit more than a typical rookie is. But like even him, he's still at least making $30,000 a week. And you're gonna go and do this like for a couple $1,000? Like, this is just so bizarre to me. But again, this happens all the time in the NFL. I am glad there's players or nobody got shot and killed in this situation because more times than not, I've done at least one story a year where an NFL player ends up going bonkers on somebody and kills people and something crazy happens. So I'm glad it didn't get to that level. But I, frankly, if they are both found even somewhat liable for this situation, their NFL careers are over some change.
Yeah. And I think it should be, because you came to a cookout with a semi-automatic gun. You gambled and then you decide, hey, I lost. Right. So you decide, hey, I lost. I'm gonna rob y'all. It just doesn't make sense. And you clearly called somebody, because who is this dude in the red mask? Where did he come from? To all of a sudden co-sign. You clearly called somebody to come help you do this. There's no.
It was. So actually, witnesses at the barbecue said that they had 3 getaway cars like strategically positioned outside. One was a Lamborghini, one was a BMW, and one was a Mercedes. So they had like the primo getaway cars waiting for them. So it was totally planned.
So I'm going to right. But I'm still when I saw that strategically planned thing, my dad retired military. A lot of my family is military. I was always told, when you go to a cookout or a nightclub, you back your car in. So if something goes down, you can just hop in and zoom out. Yeah. So I don't know how I feel about the strategically placed, because maybe they had a dad that told them the same thing that my dad did. I do have a problem with the red mask guy. Like, where'd the mask? Why? So
maybe he had a mask for the quarantine time. Maybe he didn't want to
stop it, Britt.
Go in there and make sure
stop it, Britt.
Okay.
Because if they'd have been doing social distancing,
we all got a mask right now. Okay.
That's a good point, though, because they didn't say it was a ski mask. It could have legit just been like okay, I'm gonna give you that one, Britt. I'm gonna give you that one.
Wow. They be trying to, the media be trying to switch stuff around, and I'm not playing.
You're right. All right, so I'm gonna move on. If you guys have any thoughts on this, let us know in the chat. But I'm gonna move on to why I now officially, always, and forever hate the Seahawks. And look, you guys know I give Chris a lot of slack. Not too much. He gives me more than I give him. I'm just gonna say it right now. But I give him a lot of flack sometimes. But I'm just gonna say this one time: Chris was right. Okay, because he said off top, he was like, when I got all excited about, Cam might be in, stop clapping. When I said, Cam might be going to the Seahawks, he was like, oh no, you remember what they did to us with Colin Kaepernick? And now the Seahawks have re-signed Geno, barely can read a playbook Smith. I am so offended by this, because in his first 2 seasons with the Jets, he threw for 25 touchdowns and 34 interceptions, and you signed him instead of an NFL MVP. I hate the Seahawks. Chris, help me make sense of this.
I can't make sense of it. What makes it even worse, like they re-signed him. It would be bad if they like went and picked him up before they picked Cam Newton after making the claim they made. No, they re-signed him, meaning they had him in the team before, knowing that he was just and said, you know what, we'll take your over Cam Newton, so let's re-sign. I don't have as much beef with the Seahawks as you, but when it comes to this like whole like, oh, we're trying to do the right thing and we're gonna bring Cam Newton, or we're trying to do the right thing, we're gonna bring in Colin Kaepernick, it missed me with all that stuff. 100%.
Yeah, and it's hard to hate
Geno, baby.
Russell and I like Pete Carroll and all that, but this is just gross. I can't even explain this. So no telling where Cam will end up now, but we'll keep an eye on it. But right now it is that time. Chris, ready? Me.
Yes,
get it.
I'm ready.
Ready? All right, you guys, it is time for Brit's Takes.
Brit's Takes.
Love it. So today I told y'all I'm talking about some baseball. Blake Snell, who was the 2018 American League Cy Young Award winner, he was the best pitcher in the league at that time, was set to make $7 million this season. We talked about it earlier this week about baseball switching from 162 games to 82 games and then possibly starting on 4th of July weekend with preseason starting in mid-June. And now that has been agreed upon with the owners. The players, however, have not agreed upon it yet. And apparently Blake is not going to agree upon it. He actually came out and said he does Twitch. I don't even use Twitch. I don't know. Chris knows about Twitch, I guess, but I don't know what Twitch is, but it's a social media platform. And he said on there, the risk is way the hell higher and the amount of money I'm making is way lower. Why the hell would I think about doing that? It's not worth it. I love baseball and that, but it's just not worth it. And by worth it, he means he's not getting enough money. He went on to say this, I should not be getting half of what I'm getting paid because the season's cut in half. Well, yeah, you should, first of all. On top of 33% cut of the half that's already there, so I'm really just getting 25%. On top of that, it's getting taxed. So imagine how much I'm actually making to play. You know what I'm saying. So he then went on to talk a little bit about that this has nothing to do with money and that it has everything to do with his health. But really, you just went in a whole spew thing about the money part of it. So yes, it does have to do with money. And you basically just said, if you're not making a certain amount of money, you're not going to go out there and play. He barely mentioned at the end when somebody was just like, so you're just playing for money, yada, yada. And then he wanted to add oh, well, no, it's the hell worried about health. I don't want to contract it because we don't know what the long-term effects are on it. And I don't want to pass it to anybody else. That would have been great, fine and dandy, if that was actually your point, but your point was the money. And that's what you made it very clear on. Then a guy named Bryce Harper, you guys might know him. He signed a 13-year $330 million contract last year. He came out and said, somebody's got to say it, and then doubled down on it in an interview because somebody asked, oh, you're really saying what he said is correct and whatever? And he said, yeah, he said it, and I agree with him. So this guy, mind you, $330 million, and we all know baseball contracts are guaranteed money. So even if he got hurt tomorrow, he would still get his money throughout the next 13 years. Obviously, they break it down on seasons, just like Blake he signed an extension for $50 million, but he's getting $7 million this year. Next year, he's supposed to get 11, and then $16 million after that. So they break it down in order for the franchises to pay the guys when they need to pay them. So even the downgrade that the baseball team's taking this year, technically at some point in their career, they're going to be given back that money once the league gets back up to their standard again, but right now they can't, they're having to take a pay cut, but that's not saying that they don't, if they have a fully guaranteed contract, that at some point in their career, they might, instead of them making the $7 million this year, say it's moved to $5 million. And then in a couple years, if they were supposed to make 16, they would get that extra $2 million that they missed out from this year. So I don't understand why baseball players are complaining, but if you want to complain about it, you don't have to play. Like I understand you have a contract and whatever, and you want your contract to be what it was agreed upon for the work that you do. But that's everybody in the world. We're all taking pay cuts right now. We all had some stuff that were agreed upon at some point. And then right now we're having to do that same amount of work. Some people are working even more. You can look at doctors and nurses right now. They had salaries going into it, and right now they're working way more hours, and their actual lives are at risk, and they're still doing it for that same chunk of money. They're not saying, well, I'm not going to go to work right now because I'm not making more money for all this extra work I'm doing. You're just doing your job. That's what you have to do. I get you're not an essential worker, but we're also talking about baseball here, guys. Baseball. And this guy that's complaining is a pitcher. You don't have to be next to anybody else. It is very easy to social distance in baseball, okay? Like, it is probably the easiest thing to do. We saw the Korean Baseball League. They've come back without a hitch, no issues. They've been doing just fine. Like, baseball is very, very easy to social distance from. So I don't even understand what your complaint is in the first place. Like, for you to say, if I'm playing half the season, I shouldn't just get half the pay. Like, you sound like a diva. You sound so spoiled. Like, I'm so confused. You're literally talking to and you're saying this on social media. So it's not like you're talking to your, coworkers and stuff, other baseball players in like some private meeting. You're saying this on social media next to the 33 million people in the United States of America right now who have filed for unemployment, and next to all these other people that are literally working for way less than they were making before. And you guys aren't even not making money. You guys are still making money, even though you're not playing right now. So my question, basically, I just think this is insensitive to say to the media. I get if you have these feelings or whatever, but also I understand that you could just not play if you don't want to play. There's a lot of other baseball players that would like to play right now. You guys have a choice to vote on it at that. Like, the rest of the world, we don't have a choice if we are making a smaller amount of money. We just got a letter from a CEO saying, this is what you're making now, and we're taking this cut. You guys actually have to have agreed upon salary that you agree upon with the owners, like, because you guys have your players association. So, like, this is BS. Like, I feel like it's so shitty to even come to the regular population. That's like literally going up to a homeless guy and like having this big old sandwich in your hand and complaining that they put onions on your sandwich and you don't like onions. Like, the other person is starving. Like, you don't complain to those people. Like, it's just so insensitive. You guys are such divas. And I can't even believe this is like even a thing where you're going off and ranting on social media about this. Jackie, my question is to you. So I was talking about the 33 million that are unemployed, filed for unemployment right now in the country. And looking at that and then looking at athletes, technically still all getting paid at this point. Do you say, or would you say that they are spoiled, or are they have the right to complain in social settings like this?
I mean, they have the right to complain. We have a right to call them on it. So it's one of those things where my friend Nick on our podcast, he's always saying, because I'm always complaining about stuff like this, like, how dare you, do stuff like this when you literally have essential workers working at Ralph's right now that are doing mandatory overtime with no hazard pay for like $15 an hour. Like, how dare you? This is ridiculous. But he said something to me that I fought for about 2 years, but now I'm like, okay, maybe he's right. He says at a certain income, morality is out the window. It's not about the little guy. It's not about what we find socially acceptable. It's about their bank account, and they could care less. Clearly, they could not care less about the little guy. And I think that if he thought for a second, and that's the thing, count to 10. My dad used to say this to me because I used to have a temper. And when I would get ready to be like, you know what? He'd be like, count to 10, because you're about to say something stupid that's going to get you in trouble. So if you would have counted to 10, you could say to yourself, like, look at my bank account right now. Like, damn the season and what I'm going to get paid. I, in my bank account, have enough money right now that I could probably take care of my bills. That person working out Ralph's doesn't even have the option of saying, hey, there's people coming in here with no mask that probably already had some sort of hepatitis here in California anyway. I've already exposed myself to that, and I don't get a choice because I have to go out and work to make sure I have a roof over my head, that I can feed my kids, pay my bills. Like, they don't have a choice. Like, even if you feel that way, if you'd have taken 10 seconds to just think about how it looks, I don't think he would have said it. And then, like you said, you can gripe in your coworkers, you can gripe over the next agreement. You can gripe there, but to do this publicly, dumbest thing I've seen in a long time. But morality speaking, he doesn't care. He's all about his money.
Yeah. Chris, I want to ask you a question really quick. So do you think that maybe in this situation where you have like like Bryce Harper and like Blake Snell or whatever, and then you have other players that are like ready to, let's do this, let's play some baseball or basketball or whatever. Would you think that it would be wise for the league to maybe look, all the leagues, it doesn't have to necessarily be baseball or basketball or whatever, all the leagues to look at this situation moving forward, saying players are allowed to take a year off if they want to without pay, or whatever pay they decide upon, whatever, and they can decide to not play and then that not hurt them coming back to their team the following season. Do you think that that would be something that leagues would look at, just because you're going to have players that don't feel comfortable playing, whether it's health reasons or in most situations money reasons? Or do you think that either they all should play or all not should play?
No, I think they should definitely be allowed to not play, but the key part in that is the no pay. Like, if it's one of those things where it's like, I think the argument with the load management is where these guys are counting load management off as an injury, so technically they're still able to play because they're hurt, so that's why they're missing the game, not because they're choosing not to play that game. Right. I think in a situation like this where, obviously his is financial when he shouldn't even be really having the financial issue, but all this is centered around money. So if he doesn't want to play, then his ass don't got to play. But yeah, I feel like it should be at the cost of not being paid. You don't want, it's just like it's like any situation. If I say to y'all, like, I don't feel like doing this live today, I don't want to work today. All right, cool, but you ain't gonna get paid for your Friday. Cool. Like, that's what it should be. Like, I'm not working, I'm choosing not to do something, where I'm gonna get, paid for it. Then I should not be paid. I mean, I'll probably get fired too, but I mean, situation is different for him. But yeah, I think 100% that should definitely be, especially in times like this where, some guys that are actually probably a little bit more concerned about the actual virus and not about their wallets when they know they actually have more than enough money. Like when I think we talked about it last week, if they're concerned about what's going on, that they should have that option to be able to sit out and not play the game, but understand that you're not going to get paid while you're doing that. So yeah, 100% think that they should be able to do that if they want. Let them pout, just as long as they're not getting paid for it.
And then they should be able to return to their team the following season if they want. Like, would it be like, say,
if their contracts,
the NCAA has, like, you can redshirt a year, and then that doesn't count against your 4 years of playing. So would this take away a year from them though still? Like, it's... Yes,
I would. Yeah, 100%. I think you should definitely take a year away from it. I don't think this should count as a red shirt or anything. No, look, if you have one season left on your contract and you decide to sit out the rest of that contract, you a free agent off of not playing that last season. That's on you because, that was your decision to make. And I would imagine that a lot of these guys would know that situation going into it, where I think that majority of them would probably play knowing that this is the last year in the contract. I don't think that this should be a pass where, they get a red shirt and, all right, are you ready to play? Are you done pouting? Okay, come on down. We'll renew that last year and pretend like last year didn't happen. No, I think that should count.
Knowing
regardless.
You're not at the same health level or whatever as you were probably the previous year. Yeah.
That's like that. And that was your choice.
Agreed.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, that's it for Brit's Takes.
Yay.
All right. Thank you so much, Britt. Great take to take us into the weekend. So just as a reminder to all of you watching, we have Weekend Zone coming out tomorrow, and then Chris and Jackie are doing The Last Dance, a post-show YouTube video
for the last time. For the last time.
Last dance, guys. Can we have like a moment of silence? This is so sad.
Oh man, I'm watching them all as soon as this weekend's over, though. I'm gonna be real with you guys.
What are we gonna do with our lives after this weekend? Like, seriously,
probably watch the trial of Quentin and Baker. We're gonna watch the trial.
Baker, right? That's all we got. People are gonna start tweeting like, "Can they wear their jerseys to court?" Like, can you please wear your jersey to the court?
Just hit the bailiff one time. Tackle him one time.
Okay, you guys, so make
Don't
sure you
forget
tune
your
into
mask.
all of the videos that we are posting throughout the weekend. Don't forget to subscribe, tap the bell, give this video a thumbs up, leave a comment below, wash your hands. Have a great weekend, my friends. We'll see you guys on Monday with another live show at 11 a.m. Pacific Standard Time.
Love you, Michael.